New Year's Eve on the Central Coast has become a tradition in the Ninja A-League, and tonight the Central Coast Mariners kick off a big doubleheader against Melbourne City. The Mariners have not defeated City since their readmission to the Ninja A-League. There'd be no better time for them to do so and cap off 2024. Travelling Melbourne City fans looking forward to spending New Year's Eve on the coast, and home fans hoping to enjoy some great entertainment one more time in the calendar year. We're not quite at the halfway point of the Ninja A-League season, but it's time to make a move for the Mariners from mid-table, while Melbourne City bring an 8-game unbeaten start to the campaign up to Gosford today. Good to see fans rolling in. Lots of yellow for the Mariners too. Of course, being the defending champions of the Isuzu Ute A-League men's. They're coming up later, but it's all about their Ninja A-League team this afternoon. 2 draws head-to-head, including away at Control Cyber Stadium in Melbourne earlier in the season. And that was a very entertaining match where the Mariners grabbed a late equaliser. They'll be hoping to go one better today. So here come the 2 teams, the Mariners in their home yellow kit with navy shorts, and Melbourne City in their away navy kit today. And a great thrill for all the mascots getting to walk out onto the pitch with the Ninja A-League stars. Surface looks in excellent condition at Industry Group Stadium, and hopefully it'll be a spectacle to match. Let's take a look at the Mariners team sheet. They make 2 changes to the starting 11 from last time out, including Sarah Rowe, the Irish national, coming in, along with Tess Quilligan after an injury to Ash Irwin, the severity of which is not yet known. Still waiting for results on scans to her knee. Leah Puxty moves to the bench. Lily McMahon is added to the bench, with Irwin dropping out of M. Husband's matchday squad. There is Sarah Rowe. She had a stint at Melbourne Victory for a handful of games season before last. Never started a game for the Victory though, so today is special for the former Ireland international, a Gaelic footballer, an AFLW player with Collingwood, and now back in the Ninja A-League and starting for the first time. Let's take a look at Melbourne City. 3 changes to the team that won 2-1 coming from behind against Wellington Phoenix last time out. Mariana Speckmeyer, Carly Rossbacken and Rihanna Policina all move into a very attacking-looking starting 11. Rebecca Stott, Leah Davidson move to the bench, and Shelby McMahon is added to the bench after a minor hamstring strain for TJ Vlanich. Of course, Melbourne City's next assignment is Sydney FC. So that's behind the thinking, moving skipper Stott to the bench for this one. Melbourne City huddling up here. Rebecca Stott, even though she is starting in a substitutes vest there, you see the number 13 is still taking the team talk, and the captain's still a pretty important part of things. Taylor Otto is wearing the armband today for the coin toss, and the American defender, one of her 2 Ninja A-League goals was against the Central Coast Mariners last season. Even though she's quite a tall presence at set pieces, she has only found the back of the net twice, and with Stott starting on the bench, you can see that captain's armband right there on the outstretched left arm. M. Husband yet to taste victory against Melbourne City. Let's hear some of the thoughts of the Central Coast Mariners coach.
Obviously, they're a phenomenal team on paper, and they've got off to a fantastic start. You know, becoming, you know, getting to this point in the season, not losing a game, I think, you know, is a statement in itself. For us, obviously, I think our game against them was again a really positive one early on in the season, and I thought we again defended well against them, created some really good quality goal scoring opportunities, and we're looking to do something very similar.
Michael Matriciani bringing an 8-game undefeated run in the Ninja A-League into this game. Let's hear some of his thoughts now.
The main focus is put the best players out on the park that we feel is going to win the match against Central Coast. We're in a good frame of mind. The energy is really high, so we're looking forward to this match.
And you see there Melbourne City to take kickoff. Today's referee is Georgia Girardello, and assistants Danielle Anderson and Maggie Price. The 4th officials Michaela Ryan. And it's Melbourne City to attack the left of your screens in this first half. Sarah Langman, 89th career game today. She starts between the sticks for the Mariners. Annalise Rasmussen was one of the goal scorers when these teams met in that 2-2 draw earlier in the season. Will we get something similar this afternoon? We know Melbourne City can be fast starters, and they take kickoff on New Year's Eve in Gosford. It's the Central Coast Mariners against Melbourne City. First game of this split round 9 in the Ninja A-League. Who will end the calendar year with all 3 points? Alexia Apostolakis also scored in that 2-2 draw down at Control Cyber Park. Melbourne's southeastern suburbs. It was a match where Melbourne City took the initiative and did score first, but Central Coast Mariners always had the answers. Although one of the key pieces of the Mariners team that day, Izzy Gomez, is still out with a knee injury that she picked up in Unite round. So exactly how the Mariners midfield functions against a possession-dominant Melbourne City team will be one of the fascinations today. Mariners win the ball back for the first time, and here is Sarah Rowe, first actress to win a foul. 29-year-old who's been in Australia for a number of years thanks to her AFLW connections after she was identified and recruited out of Gaelic football. It's still pretty handy in the round ball game, and we'll get some real answers as to just how sharp she is tonight. She came on against Perth as a late sub last weekend. The Mariners being hassled here by the press. And Jessica Nash is able to win a throw, but it'll be fascinating to see how Nash goes without her regular centre-back partner, Ash Irwin. For those of you who did see the Perth game, Mariners last played, Irwin in a collision picked up a knee injury, the severity of which is not yet known. Scan results haven't come back. The fact it happened over in Perth around Christmas time has probably been a factor in that. And they'll be hoping that it's not the worst, the Mariners, and they will see Ash Irwin at some point again this year. Here's another look at the foul by Jade Pennick. You see the right hamstring is very heavily strapped, and given that one of Pennick's great weapons is her speed, hopefully that won't hamper her too much today. Scorer of the match-winning goal in that 1-0 away win against the Glory. So a patient first 2 minutes from Melbourne City. No first-minute goal like their last away trip to Adelaide. Here's Brooke Nunn to Pennick. The English combination linking up here. Nunn. An aggressive pass, but not able to find a teammate. Taylor Otto makes the intercept. And then misdirects that ball. Rowe picks it off, and now Nunn out to the running Rowe. Let's see what she can do here, Sarah Rowe. Can't chase that one down. Yeah, the surface does look good at Industry Group Stadium today, and you saw just how smoothly it ran away there, almost accelerating from Sarah Rowe. Elena Mires in goal, the Spanish keeper. Just the one clean sheet so far in the A-League this season. Love to double up today. And the Mariners in the press will know that they can try to force a mistake, try to create some hair-raising moments for this City back three and keeper. Long ball is intercepted by Nash. 2024, a great year for Jess Nash as she was recalled to the Matildas. Annabelle trying to link up with Peter. Trimmers having to backtrack here, battling against Briley Henry, and the ball spills to Taylor Ray. And Ray's square ball nearly picked off by the lunging Lourdes Bosch. Ultimately, it forces a misplaced pass, but out to the Mariners' technical area. There's Bosch. There's Nash, who made that pass just a moment ago. So much responsibility on the 20-year-old at the centre of defence now. May have played more games than Ash Irwin, but was 3 years younger. Here's Apostolakis for Melbourne City. Briley Henry on a wing today. Carly Rossbacken starting on the left side of defence. You see the Mariners happy to sit very deep, very compact. Their forwards, midfield and defence all really contained in 1/3 of the pitch. Now Pennick trying to break out. Has Nunn in support, and this is where the Mariners can look so good. The quick counter-attack. Nunn doesn't want to decelerate too much, but has no choice. Has to stop and prop. Now Taylor Ray. Mariners trying to keep the ball speed high and have City chasing. Martin, early ball looking for Trimmis. Another speedster. This time stuck in a tangle with Briley Henry. And Henry prevails, well, to an extent. Won the duel, and then the line got a little bit big and concedes a corner kick. And Trimmis, who may just have been outpointed there, still gets a little bonus. And Annabelle Martin, the aggressive pass there, setting away the two speedsters. Both with number 22 on their back today. And you just see Briley Henry there. The touch got away from it. And so Annabelle Martin gets to take the first corner of the game. It's safe to say that Sydney do have a height advantage in this team. Speckmeyer, Otto. Rasmussen's the only real tall target for the Mariners to aim for. And Martin, well, puts it right onto the head of Catherine Harvey at the near post. Second time ball. And the header is won by Bianca Galich, but held on to by Milena Mires, and it wasn't travelling with a great deal of power. Recently capped Croatia international Bianca Galich, Australian born and raised, but choosing to play for the nation of her heritage. Did actually score here at Industry Group Stadium in round 1 against Sydney FC, but first shot on target comfortably dealt with by Milena Mires. And a foul here on Bosch, who's probably going to attract plenty of attention today in a physical sense. Wasn't even able to bring the ball under control before Sarah Rowe was running in, and was almost protesting her innocence before she made contact there, perhaps anticipating she'd charged in a little too quickly. Ross back in with Brooke Nunn lurking, but an outlet pass to Otto. Postelakis to Rihanna Polisina, still trying to get her stamp on the game almost 7 minutes in. Now Briley Henry looks to take on Peter Trimmis in the other direction. An incisive pass attempted, just getting away from Catherine Harvey. Now back to Langman. Harvey definitely been tasked with pressing all the way to the keeper when the Mariners go back to Sarah Langman today. Here's Laura Hughes. Really nice pass from right to left. Bosch loses out to Rowe and goes and retrieves the ball. Polisina turning at the edge of the box, got a shot away, and protests that there was a shirt grab and perhaps a free kick there, but referee Georgia Ghirardello right on the scene. Let's have another look. Polisina, yeah, Tess Quilligan's got just the slightest handful of shirt, but not enough to satisfy the referee that there was a foul, or that it necessarily put Polisina off her shot. Around the corner from Pennock. And Otto outpoints Nunn in the air. Husband would have been very happy with the draw earlier in the season, given that her team twice came from behind to grab an equaliser. Here's Nunn away. Look at the straight line speed of Brooke Nunn, and is going to try and catch Mires out. Well, it was nearly something special to end the year from Brooke Nunn. She's still hunting her first Inter-A-League goal, and that looked very deliberate. By no means a miss-hit cross. That was attempting to catch out Milena Mires. That'll be a confidence-boosting catch for the Spanish keeper. Perhaps speaks to the mentality the Mariners might have when they get into even vaguely shooting range today. A little bit too much physical attention from Harvey, who knocks over Nash and concedes the free kick. It's good body position from Nash, and you saw Harvey there, 1, 2, 3 touches, trying to establish position, and then eventually just a shove was a little bit too much. Pennock over the top. Rasmussen heading on. Nunn breaking into space. Mires has got to go. And go she did. A forceful clearance. And that is keeper to keeper. Well done by Mires there, leading out with her left foot to boot it away. Rasmussen was a clever header on, just trying to set Nunn free into that space. Space that was taken by the goalkeeper. Surprisingly, Melbourne City have already established possession dominance in the game, but the Mariners won't mind. They will have come with a counter-attacking plan today. See Briley Henry wearing the zinc. It's her 50th Melbourne City game today, Briley Henry, but 69th total in the Ninja A-League, having played the first 2 seasons of her career at the Western Sydney Wanderers. Here's Hughes. Dump at a 1-on-2, had to retreat. Apostolakis also working backwards and sideways. It's the confidence of a keeper sweeper there. Mira's really just coming up as an extra passing defender to help switch flanks. And now Carly Ross back and is away. Harvey. Back to McKenna. Letitia McKenna sends it out to Harvey on the left. Apostolakis allowed to drift forward. Henry misses Speckmeyer, but Hughes came in and made it a completed pass. All's well that ends well for City. Henry veers away from the penalty box, and City will reset almost at the halfway line with Taylor Otto. Now looking for ways to get their more attack-minded midfielders, Letitia McKenna and Rihanna Policina, on the ball. It is noticeable how they've been starved of possession in dangerous territory through the first 12 minutes. Laura Hughes is moving through the line ably, though. And this is a great little underlapping run. Policina getting into the box, recycling the ball back out. Henry with a looping cross. Bosch. He's got Pennock for company. Lourdes Bosch able to spin into the box. Was there contact? Bosch went sliding. Appealed for a penalty, but almost appealing solo to the referee. None of the other City teammates getting too vocal about it. Well, there's a little bit of contact there. It may have been initiated outside the penalty area. You see the line looming. You could argue there's an ankle tap there. If it was outside the box. Bosch back to her feet. Rossbacken, more physical defending from the Mariners, holding City at bay. Rossbacken lifts in across. Speckmeyer was the target, and overzealous in challenging for that header, catching Annabelle Martin in the back of the head. It's interesting because Speckmeyer's raised an arm almost as protection of herself as Martin backed in there, but the referee said it was enough to constitute a foul. Annabelle Martin, a tough customer, no stranger to putting herself in a degree of danger, at least relatively speaking to how much danger you can throw your body into on a football field. Good to see the crowd making some noise. Of course, New Year's Eve's always an event in Gosford. The Mariners only re-entering the Ninja A-League last season, so it made perfect sense to make them part of this New Year's Eve tradition. None. Says enough pondering on the ball. Let's hurry things up. Apostolakis, Policina around the corner. Now McKenna. And the City creators link up. Briley Henry jagging into the box. Martin had to be clean in the tackle and was. Henry sent sprawling. Martin took the ball. Now Peter Trimis, just a little indecisive, playing the pass to Martin, who was perhaps caught out. Hughes. Well, you can just see the difference in how dangerous City looked there when it's Policina and McKenna passing to each other on that most recent attack. That is why when it's the likes of Rossbacken here or Apostolakis on the ball, they are looking for those creators that can see the gaps, that can see the space to exploit. Here's McKenna now. Doesn't like any of the options and goes back to Apostolakis. Now Hughes, great run between the lines, receiving the ball in space. Henry from the right, swings it across over the head of Harvey. Well, that was a promising build-up from Melbourne City. All created there by Laura Hughes, able to get between the midfield and the defence. And you can just see it starting to unfold for the visiting team now. 15.5 minutes in, the patterns of play that they relentlessly spend time training starting to appear in a game situation. That's Michael Matriciani's voice you can hear carrying there, telling his players to be positionally disciplined and stay where they've been set up for the game. Apostolakis, this time a little more direct, the element of surprise. Speckmeyer often chasing around the right foot. That one was wrapped and didn't really generate any sort of direction other than to offer it up to the keeper. Here's another look at Speckmeyer. Not able to catch it with real force. 4 goals so far this season for the Venezuelan international, so the Mariners would have put their homework in on how to try to starve her of the ball. Nash, back to Langman. And Langman's distribution is straight to Speckmeyer. It's coming back with interest. Pollicina trot on the ball. Now goes to ground. The attack still alive. Bosch with a long shot. And Langman ends up with it in the gloves. Can't help but think that Brianna Pollicina was in the penalty area with a chance to shoot, but the ball just plugged right there and got left behind, and it was enough for Galich to scramble back and make it difficult. They still turned it into a shot on target, but it could have been so much more. And again, Melbourne City continue to turn up the heat. The Mariners need a circuit breaker, and Annalise Rasmussen might be it. Appeals for offside are heeded. And the flag of Daniel Anderson goes up on the Mariners and stops them breaking into the penalty area. And that is what the Mariners can do in the other direction, but as far as offsides go, that is daylight and then some. So a good call from the assistant referee, but also a very makeable call. No debate. But if nothing else, it's a sign of what's possible when the Mariners just absorb and counter. So we've got a real established contrast in styles now. Melbourne City continue to look to pick the lock, and the Mariners will try to explode in the other direction. Here's Ross Backen. Runs into trouble with Pennick. McKenna. Otto hurriedly back to the goalkeeper, Mires. And now Apostolakis. A couple of Mariners dragged out of position, but City not able to capitalise. Rowe with a volley. Second ball for Quilligan to Pennick. Pennick has to go chasing her own touch and is happy to reset back to Langman. Triple the number of passes in the opposing half for Melbourne City. It's not a surprise. You imagine that gap is only going to grow larger as the game continues. Laura Hughes, what a 2024 for her. Made her Matilda's debut in the series against Chinese Taipei. You can see that confidence is growing every week in the Ninja A-League. Pennick, shut down by Otto. Great tackle. And then tried to release Pollicina, but Galich came through. Harvey pressing all the way up to Langman, as has been characteristic for the first 20 minutes. Does mean a lot of unrewarded running, but you never know when you might force a mistake. And the Mariners with a long ball here that Mires is able to sweep a keep and deal with, only as far as Trimis. And now the ball is running on for Jade Pennick. Pennick, well, that was the shoot-on-sight mentality we saw from Brooke Nunn earlier in the game, but certainly not as venomous an attempt. And the English forward there on the end of Peter Trimis's diagonal pass. Again, the intent absolutely there is to shoot. just didn't catch it the way she might have hoped. Otto's pass to Polisena on the right, looking to take 10 metres, and now decision time on where to go. Speckmeyer, not on the same wavelength as Briley Henry. Martin's throw down the line, and Nunn trying to pick the pocket of Apostolakis, just did enough to force the defender to put it out for another throw. So 25 metres for nothing, and a little shake of the head there from Apostolakis. Effectively took uncontested possession, but felt the presence of Nunn. Mariners go backwards, and they're going to try and switch flanks here. It's a slow-moving pass, awkward to deal with for Sarah Rowe. She's able to eventually bring it under her control. Nash, Taylor Ray, Pennock helping out. It was a big turning circle from Pennock, and that allowed McKenna to make it a real contest, but Bosch has committed a foul on Rowe. Another look here. Bosch a little late, yeah, treading on the foot. So the protests don't have much foundation. Fairly emphatically trod on the foot of Sarah Rowe there, who seems completely unfazed by the contact. Of course, the Mariners had to make a fairly unfortunate announcement yesterday. Their American right back, we'll come back to that, offside here against Nunn. Their American right back, Breanne Riley, has been released from her contract for medical reasons. So after a handful of appearances, she won't be with the team for the remainder of the journey. Em Husband still waiting on Taryn King to rehabbing her ACL, suffered last season. On track for a January return. Here's Rasmussen after an errant pass. Rasmussen striding into the box on the tight angle, can't get a shot away. Apostolakis closed it down at the last, and Rasmussen able to win a corner if nothing else, but it could have been so much more. That first touch took Apostolakis away, but good recovery run there from Apostolakis to get back and pop it behind. And immediately apologising to her fellow defenders. That's the thing, there's a real ebb and flow to this game, and the flow is pretty thrilling when it happens, as it's often the Mariners breaking into open field. Martin with the corner. First corner of the game went near post and was comfortably dealt with. This time the Mariners are going to mix it up. In comes the cross. Mirez got a hand on the ball, finds safe harbour in a teammate. Briley Henry clears it to the safety of touch. Mirez out to the ball first. Rising above the pack of players here with double-fisted punch, and it found Henry, who cleared. Rowe. Now Quilligan. Martin trying to find a way down the left flank. Pass was intercepted, but Trimmis will interrupt, and now Rasmussen gets a touch. Setting up Quilligan. Tried for the return ball over the top, but knocked it straight into Apostolakis, who has possession here. Body language from Apostolakis, almost pleading with teammates to present a pass that will drive them forward, but it's not happening on this occasion. Reset with Otto. Bosch hasn't been allowed to run into space today, which has been one of the great characteristics of her game in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. Has had minor injuries that have limited her to substitute roles in recent weeks. Hughes. Now Harvey, the centre forward, rolling against the defender and getting a shot away. It is a shot on target. More traditional centre forward play there from Catherine Harvey, but from that distance it would have had to be something special to get the better of Sarah Langman, and in the end just presenting up for a comfortable catch at the near post. Still, Harvey showing what's possible, the Canadian forward who does have 3 goals this campaign. None. And asking a little too much of Rowe, who couldn't quite make ground over against the sideline. Just eavesdropping on Michael Matriciani, who had some instructions for Laura Hughes there about attacking on the line, which is where Lourdes Bosch is hugging at the moment, but Harvey's going to ignore the winger and go back to Ross Backen instead. See City trying to create as much width as possible here. Apostolakis driving through the middle, but they had Bosch super wide on the left, Briley Henry super wide on the right, just trying to drag as many Mariners players out of position as possible, but frustration for the Melbourne City coach. Sums up how some of the plans best laid aren't quite coming to fruition yet. Quilligan caught in possession. Preventative defending from Nash. Now Tremis. Just couldn't bring the ball under control as it looped up. Maybe caught a little bit of the wind, which has picked up a little. Well, these are the moments where coaches earn their money, because Melbourne City have been in this exact situation so many times in this first half, and it feels like they're getting further away rather than closer to scoring the opening goal at the moment. They had a pretty good 10-minute spell between about the 15 and 25-minute mark where it looked like they were working through the gears to something special, and now the Mariners have had their response and are looking stout in defence. And Melbourne City are in need of some fresh ideas. Long way until half-time too. Maybe Bosch can provide them. Ross Backen. Harvey protecting the ball. Now Bosch comes into the play. Bosch. McKenna, difficult pass to control, but to control it she did. Long shot deflected. Commitment there from Taylor Ray to make the block. And the ball takes an awkward bounce for Taylor Otto and set Apostolakis a task. And now in broken play, well, that's where the Mariners were trying to capitalise and head the other way, but ultimately it goes out for a City throw. Just saw there it was the long shot there from McKenna. He was deciding, if I get close enough, that's good enough. Taylor Ray wasn't letting her have even that. The crowd has found their voice again, wanting the Mariners just to get the ball back at the moment. Melbourne City are dominating possession, but certainly not territory. So much of their play has been stuck right here on the edge of the halfway line. When they venture forward, they find roadblocks. Case in point, the Mariners close ranks here and win possession back. Nash with not many choices though, other than to boot it out. You can see the sleeves rolled all the way up. Warm work for Jessica Nash at the moment. Otto, now Nunn, getting interested in trying to force a mistake. Otto had Apostolakis though. Trimis. Hughes. Now Speckmeyer. Left the ball with Polisina, and the recovery run from Taylor Ray won the ball. Out of defence comes Gallage. Mariners working down the wing. Trimis just lost position on Henry. Decides to go wide and run back into the field of play. Clever from Trimis. Hits the byline. The ball will sit up. All about the delivery. And it just didn't have the oomph behind it. Cleared away by Apostolakis. Trimis and Martin working together. Nunn. Martin. Now Taylor Ray. Diagonal ball. Clears all and sundry by the keeper. Well, again, the Mariners, they broke into attack there, and Peter Trimis could see that Briley Henry was getting the better of her in a straight line race, so she went wide, veered outside the field of play and almost curved the run and was still able to win the foot race, but just didn't have the right pass at the end of all that hard work. Still looking for a first goal of the season. 18-year-old Peter Trimis has managed to set such a high bar for herself after her debut campaign. 3 goals in the Ninja A-League and also 3 goals for the young Matildas at the Under-20 Asian Cup. And again, you can see all 10 Mariners outfielders in the frame at the moment. So compressed is the game. And they win possession here. Nash back to Langman. Quilligan. You can see now that we are beyond the half-hour mark. Harvey, who was chasing Langman every time she had possession for the first 25 minutes, has just eased off. But will she get interested here? I think that's why Gallage steered away from the back pass. Trimis instead. Hoping for Rasmussen. Otto heads it away. Through comes Rossbacken. And so Sarah Langman can breathe a little bit easier now in goal, because even though Harvey's lurking some 10 metres away, it's not being chased every time she's in possession now. Nash. Bosch looks up at 2 opponents, trying to find a gap where there wasn't none. Quilligan, really good at just getting in the road. Wins possession, and the crowd showed their appreciation as she completes the pass, and the Mariners were nearly away. Rasmussen tried to thread it through for Pennock. Bosch now in a duel, and a tackle from behind her. There's a bit of afters there. Pennock not happy with the way Bosch was trying to tackle for the ball. Bosch argues her case. Here's another look. Really physical stuff here. See arm around the leg, and then a bit of an attempt to kick the ball away from that prone position. The end result is the Mariners get the free kick. Rowe, Quilligan, Pennock, Quilligan again. Just a little skinny with the pass. Rowe was breaking down the wing, and it was played more to the advantage of Rossbacken. Carly Rossbacken, though, saying, where could I go? Had no choice but to clear. Mariners make it easy for them by coughing up possession here. So ticking down to 10 minutes of regulation to go in the first half. It has been very much one for the Tacticos. Bit of a chess match in a footballing sense between Melbourne City and the Central Coast. Has had some thrills occasionally, though, whenever Central Coast trying to break on the counter. Melbourne City, well, they're going to have to adjust for one of those moments right here. Rowe making ground down the right. Rasmussen in the middle. Rowe cuts inside. Nunn pops the ball over the top. Pennock, well, just shaped the run in a way that perhaps wasn't aware that the goalkeeper Mires was coming out. That looked like a teasing ball there from Brooke Nunn, but Pennock's run to try and meet it. Well, advantage goalkeeper was the end result.
Now it's quick. Now it's quick. Keep them moving. Keep them moving. Keep them moving. Good.
Apostolakis. Well, everything stopped and slowed down and required a reset. Otto. Rostbacken. Now Bosch. Lourdes Bosch, the step over and the slaloming run. Took on one defender too many. Nash got it away. McKenna back to Otto. Otto's pass, a little telegraphed, and Trivis can't capitalise and take it away, but it's perhaps reflective of Mariana Speckmeyer there, the Melbourne City attacker, struggling to get into the game. That Otto was just trying to put it on her feet. Riley Henry getting a touch here, but again, the main instigators of Melbourne City goals, Policina, Speckmeyer, McKenna, they are being starved of the ball here, and the defenders are the ones that are trying to find solutions. They're not finding too many at the moment. Again, McKenna second to the ball behind Quilligan. Pennock, Rowe, flips it over to Nunn. Nunn protected the ball. He's made 100% sure that the tackle wasn't going to nick it off her. And now out of a 1-on-3, finds Taylor Ray. Everything's speeding up here because City can see them hunting the ball, but the Mariners playing their own version of keepings off here. Rowe. Back to Nash. Everything calms down. You can just see little moments like that where City really pride themselves on winning the ball back quickly, and the Mariners refuse to let them do so. Here's Trimis crashing into a 1-on-2, the diminutive Trimis, and ultimately losing out as the ball is forced back to Mires. Not a great deal of shouting coming from the sidelines either. Not to suggest that either coach would be thrilled with how the game is progressing. Maybe M. Husband the happier of the two, because Melbourne City aren't exactly raining shots or chances down on goal. Here's Nunn directing traffic. Rasmussen so dangerous in these situations. And the shot on the turn is deflected out for a corner. And that is what the Mariners can do. Thumbs up from Brooke Nunn. It was her creativity. Said, here's where the pass is going. Rasmussen obliged. And you saw it catch the shin of Apostolakis to deflect behind. It's a team on the same wavelength right there. Can they make the most of the corner? First two corners were from the left side. Didn't come to a great deal. So Taylor Ray is the corner taker here. The Mariners first from the right. Ray, a drifter. And it did meet seemingly the head of Galich first, but almost a bit of a surprise. Pennock argues she was being held. And you can see the Mariners are not too vigorous in their own press, at least they haven't been, but maybe now with just over 5 minutes of regulation until half-time, they'll make it a little bit more difficult for Melbourne City to emerge from their defensive half. Nash. Rowe. Taylor Ray. Back to Rowe, and a promising run here. Ray, a long ball. Rasmussen appeals for offside, not heeded. Now they are. Now they are. Some clever City defenders there. They just stepped at the right time to trap Annalise Rasmussen offside. Of course, Trimis as well may have been off too. I think Trimis is protesting because I do think it was Rasmussen on that long ball from Taylor Ray who attracted the flag first. Regardless, the attack broke down and it is Melbourne City ball. You can see they're 3 times caught offside in the game so far, the Mariners. None for City. Can they flick the switch at the end of the first half, knowing that concentration might now be waning for the Mariners? Pollicina with an early ball. Langman comes to the edge of the box. Speckmeyer. Bosch round the corner. Didn't strike it truly. Oh, just a moment of panic there for Sarah Langman in the Mariners' goal. Speckmeyer did the team thing there. Rather than shoot on an acute angle, perhaps right there could have tried on what would have been a very difficult angle for a right footer. Sent it back to Bosch, but Bosch scooped it. Not able to put the foot really through the shot. And the moment is lost. Quilligan. Rowe. Bosch comes away with possession. Now Hughes. Great challenge from Taylor Ray. Pennock. Fouled by Rossbacken. You feel like there's a couple of big defensive stands here for the Mariners before half-time. Had City scored on that last foray forward where Speckmeyer was free on the wing, it would have undone so much hard work for Central Coast in this half to keep the game 0-0. They've let City have the ball. They've let City basically work through their entire playbook of things to try against a deep-lying defence, and they have nearly made it to the half-time break. And you can only hope that they might have some fresh ideas in the forms of either subs or maybe a minute mark where they're going to get a little bit more ambitious of a goal of their own. Although they would argue that the counter-attack has suited them just fine to this point of the game. Galich. Nash. Quilligan, first time ball, round the corner. Nunn gets into a wrestle. Both players looked at the referee and said, "We think it's a foul," and the referee said, "So do I." For the blatant grab of the shirt there from Brooke Nunn. Well, she was in a show of strength. You can see Apostolakis was holding on in her own right, but a mid-range free kick. Could this be what Melbourne City needs to find a way through right on the stroke of half-time? Apostolakis, right up the middle it goes. Otto around the corner with the header. Rowe got underneath the ball. Trimis's clearance deflected. McKenna. And the free kick is given against Harvey here. Annabelle Martin has been able to draw the foul, and it's the first yellow card of the game. A bit of a rueful shake of the head there from Catherine Harvey. And all eyes on Annabelle Martin in the aftermath. Here's another look. Martin had eyes only for the ball. And Harvey protests her case, saying she was just defending the drop zone of where the ball was about to land. So Harvey's the first player in the book, and we'll have to watch her step for the remainder of the game. Annabelle Martin, who does have a history of shoulder injuries, is being treated here by the medical staff. And this little powwow will come just as the first half ticks into stoppage time. It was going to be 1 minute. It's potentially going to be a couple more here. So Martin still being assessed by the doctor. Well, I guess it's looking at Martin before initiating the contact, whereas Martin is eyes on the ball the entire time it's in the air. Maybe that was the factor. And it it is indeed going to be 2 additional minutes to end the first half. Annabelle Martin, because there was a yellow card, doesn't need to go to the sideline after being treated. She can just stay on the pitch. Melbourne City went and had a powwow inside the centre circle, all talking amongst each other, almost like the precursor to a halftime team talk. And now one little last burst before the break to see if they can find a breakthrough against the Mariners' defence, which has stood tall at least this far into the first half. Em Husband getting a lot more talkative out of the technical area, knowing that the finish line is in sight and players' concentration is going to be tested here in the very last minute of the first 45. Apostolakis. Harvey. Oh, the pass went the wrong way as far as Speckmeyer was concerned. Of course, Melbourne City have the ultimate super sub, the live wire Holly McNamara, on the bench today. I wonder how early they might reach for the paperwork and tell the fourth official that it's Mac time. Could it even be straight out of the gates at the start of the second half? Bit of a dangerous pass here, but only seconds to play with for Melbourne City. Quilligan dispossessed McKenna. Nash back to Langman. Langman hurried the clearance. Taylor Ray, a backwards header. The 2 minutes of stoppage is up. And Galich hurriedly around the corner. Wonder if the referee might just let this throw-in take place here. Half-time in sight for the Central Coast with the 0-0 scoreline intact. Just a few nerves on that last phase of play. Maybe Melbourne City can strike late. Nope, they won't get the chance to. And so waiting for a goal on New Year's Eve at the halfway mark of this round 9 clash. The Mariners did excite at times on the counter-attack, while Melbourne City, well, they flicked through the Rolodex of attacking plays. They weren't able to find one that really severely tested Sarah Langman in goal. But they will have some options off the bench to bring this one to life in the second half, because at the halftime break, it's Central Coast Mariners 0, Melbourne City 0. So into the first half highlights, and even though the Mariners didn't have much possession or territory, they certainly had the lion's share of opportunities to score. Bianca Galich got on the end of this header here from a second-time ball at a corner, and Milena Mires was able to hold on and save. Saw this opportunity for Brooke Nunn. They had a bit of a shoot-on-sight policy, particularly in the first quarter of the game or so, the Mariners, but Mires was better than to be beaten by that long shot. Although Brooke Nunn definitely signalled the intent of the Central Coast. Unfortunately for Rihanna Policina, that ball just plugged in the turf and got stuck between the feet, and even though it did end in a shot on target for Lourdes Bosch, not quite the shot that Melbourne City were hoping for when it initially broke to Policina. Laura Hughes was promising at times in that first half, and Catherine Harvey with some conventional centre-forward play there to roll her defender, but went wide, and it's always going to be a high degree of difficulty to beat the keeper from there. And then this opportunity here for Speckmeyer. Langman came out off her line. Speckmeyer looking for a teammate in Bosch at the top of the box, and just wasn't able to meet it with any real power, and ultimately missed the target with a bit of a drifter. And that sums up the first half for Melbourne City. Frustration. The underlying numbers, well, they say that Melbourne City are in control of most of the categories: possession, territory, certainly everything getting closer to the penalty area. But the Mariners on the counter-attack have suggested that they could still win this one and land their first ever win against Melbourne City in the Ninja A-League. It's scoreless at halftime.
it's time to keep the party pumping. Let's head back down now to DJ Marmon, who's pumping out those tunes over at the palm trees.
The Ninja A-League will be continuing into the weekend. It might be the last game of the year, but there's plenty to look forward to. Let's hear now from the Newcastle Jets, because after a hard-fought draw against Canberra United last start, their captain, Cassidy Davis, spoke to Pakua Frimpong.
Well, Cass, it was a frustrating afternoon of football. How did you feel? How did you think the game went?
Yeah, I think it was a tough game. Obviously, coming to Canberra is always tough. They've got an awesome crowd here, so that was the first part. But yeah, obviously we changed a little bit of the way we played, and I think defensively, obviously we didn't concede, so we're happy with that. But yeah, I think it was a really tough game, and Canberra are a good side, and yeah, I think they definitely had more shots than us and more chances, but I think we controlled more of the game.
Is that a part of the game that you guys are still trying to build that consistency? Obviously, you've got some really great defenders, but that team defence you're really trying to build as the season goes on?
Yeah, we are. I think we've conceded too many goals at the moment. So obviously from last week we needed a reaction. So that was the plan today, is to make sure that we had a good defensive structure and keep that consistency now. We know that we can go games without conceding, but it obviously takes away the other side. So we've got to make sure that we're still putting them in the back of the net.
Looking to that side of the pitch, Cass, obviously you had lots of goal scorers last season. It's more of a collective effort in terms to find the back of the net this season. How do you keep the attackers motivated to really find that level again?
Yeah, I think they just need one, and once they get one, I think they'll go on a roll. We all know that they can do it, and they believe in themselves too. And yeah, we practice every week shooting, and it's just about moments in the game and making sure that we take those moments in front of goal. And I think we need to create a few more clearer chances as well. So that's on us midfielders to provide that for the attackers, but it will come.
You face Western United, another tough defence next week. How do you look ahead to that game?
Yeah, I think at the moment we just need to get back to Newcastle. We've got a bus trip back, so just recover, get our bodies right, and then regroup next week and have a look at where we went wrong today, and yeah, have a look at Western United. Obviously we've played them already, so yeah, I think that once we get back to Newcastle and we can regroup, we'll have a look at Western United.
Perfect. Thanks, Cass. Really appreciate it. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Cass Davis of the Newcastle Jets, and they take on Western United. You heard from Cass Davis there mentioning they had met once already this season. It was a 1-1 draw in Unite round. Newcastle created so many chances in that game, but ultimately Grace Maher's equaliser was able to get a share of the points. Now they do battle again down at Ironbark Fields. It's not the only game coming up, of course, this weekend in the Ninja A-League. We're also looking forward to Melbourne victory against the Western Sydney Wanderers at the home of the Matildas on Sunday. Plenty on the line in this match. Let's find out a little bit more.
Melbourne victory welcomed the Western Sydney Wanderers to the home of the Matildas on Sunday afternoon. Victory sit comfortably in the top half of the table after taking care of the struggling Sydney FC away from home in round 8. Jeff Hopkins' side have not lost since round 2, and a win would continue to apply pressure on competition leaders Melbourne City. Wanderers suffered a tough defeat to Adelaide in their last outing and are in search of points to increase the gap between themselves and cellar dwellers Sydney FC. A lot is on the line for these two teams on either side of the Ninja A-League table. Make sure to tune in on Paramount Plus or 10 Play.
Don't miss that one, and don't miss the great content that's appearing on both the A-League's website and A-League's YouTube channel all through the week. Here's how you can watch.
Hello, welcome to the Isuzu Ute A-League download. Am I talking about the right game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Dub Zone. A lot of big names have gone. A lot of leaders have gone.
Hello and
welcome to Total A-League.
I still think he's in the top couple of strikers in the league.
They employ that high press, which makes it extremely hard to play out of.
Welcome to the war. You know who it reminds me of? The Pringles logo.
It's football's hottest summer.
Well, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, that is just pretty to watch.
78 games across 28 days.
That is unbelievable!
It's the A-League's biggest summer of football ever.
Oh my goodness, what a strike!
Action-packed fun for everyone these holidays. Family passes start from only $24. Search A-League's tickets online to get your tickets today.
Great value and great entertainment, and that's what we're hoping to see in the second half here in the Ninja A-League. Scoreless at the break between Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne City. They drew 2-2 earlier in the season, and newly minted Matilda Leah Davidson is going to be a second half sub here for Melbourne City. She will never forget 2024, the year where she won her first Matilda's cap. And the question is, who's making way? Brianna Polisina's back out for the second half, so just waiting on the fourth official here to confirm. In fact, both teams, as you can see there, are still waiting on our entire officiating crew. I think both coaches were eager to get back out of the tunnel and start the second half, but it's the referees who own the watch and the whistle. And so both teams are both having to wait here. There you go. They're going to walk out onto the pitch and wonder what on earth's going on. They've got both teams eagerly waiting to kick off here. Look at that, they're all looking at their watches saying, no, trust us. We know what we're doing. Georgia Ghirardello having fun here. Very experienced referee, so out they come, the officials for the second half. And the first task of fourth official Michaela Ryan will be to end the mystery of exactly who Leah Davidson is replacing. It is going to be Catherine Harvey. So interesting that Melbourne City are taking off their centre forward and bringing on a midfielder here. And a little quick discussion with Laura Hughes upon entering the game for Leah Davidson. You do wonder how that's going to change the way City attack and how they play. More midfield work for Taylor Ray in the Mariners midfield to try and counter this new threat. But the Mariners will take kick-off. The last half of Ninja A-League in 2024 is underway. And it is still Central Coast 0, Melbourne City 0. And the Mariners making no change to the 11 that started the game. I do wonder if the yellow card might have been a factor in thinking about subbing out Catherine Harvey at half-time. Was the only player to pick up a yellow card in that first half. Far more likely it's a tactical change that Michael staff have identified. But right now it's all about the Mariners because Nunn is off and running. Trimis, well, didn't want to run offside and ultimately got left a little bit flat-footed, but he could have played the pass a bit earlier there. Trimis was on the move and then had to stop to a standstill just to wait for Nunn, and then it all came unstuck. So a bright first minute from the Central Coast after taking kick-off at the start of the second half. Melbourne City's front three, Speckmeyer wide on the right, Lourdes Bosch wide on the left, Mariana Policina, almost the false nine at the top of the attack. Here's the long ball now, hoping for Speckmeyer, but it skids off the turf. We did see that at times in the first half. A firm and well-maintained surface is prone to sometimes the ball just accelerating after taking a bounce, and you see there it skimmed on, and it's never going to be a retrievable ball for Mariana Speckmeyer. Fresh energy from City out of the rooms though. McKenna applying the press. There's Holly McNamara wearing the bib, retrieving the ball in the substitutes bench. I wonder what minute that she might be unleashed upon this game. Throw by Henry will tumble into the box. Policina can't hook it to a teammate. Sliced away. Straight back out for a throw. Melissa Barbieri, the backup Melbourne City keeper, just making sure everything's in order. She's also an assistant coach, don't forget, of this Melbourne City team, in addition to being an active player. Quilligan. Now Trimis. Turns on the ball, but Laura Hughes came in to pick her pocket. McKenna to Speckmeyer. Davidson trying to get involved, the half-time substitute. Speckmeyer now, and the underlapping run from McKenna. Again, not able to meet the ball. Panic, backheel touch, can't find a teammate. Otto, clever little sidestep to lose the attention of the Mariners midfield, but put Policina into a difficult spot. Now Taylor Ray stepping out of traffic, doing really nicely. Panic, the releasing pass, Trimis chasing. How it holds up off the turf will be key, and Briley Henry flicked it over the shoulder. And then Annabelle Martin charging through, restored back to full faculties after that knock right at the end of the first half, which needed a bit of treatment, but it's hard to keep Annabelle Martin down. Mariners just not able to capitalise. An unfortunate bounce there. Briley Henry read it best. Pennick able to nick in ahead of Rossbacken. Jade Pennick all about the cutback. Nunn misses the ball. Big fresh air swing at a shot. Wasn't able to make contact. Mariners brought the crowd into it there. Home fans wanting to see this Mariners team tick Melbourne City off the list. There's only 3 teams they haven't beaten since returning to the Ninja A-League. Western United and the Western Sydney Wanderers, the others that they haven't experienced success against. Of course, all of them teams that came in as expansion teams after the Mariners dipped out after the first 2 seasons. So 5 minutes of the second half, which has been a bit more up-tempo and had a few more half chances and little glimpses at opportunities, certainly than the way the first half came to its conclusion. Otto, Davidson. Still just trying to decipher exactly what function Leah Davidson coming on for Catherine Harvey is providing as that extra body in midfield for Melbourne City. Laura Hughes had to do a lot of work in that first half, so it might just be about trying to double the number of players that are popping up in that gap between midfield and defence. Otto trying to force a pass there. Trimis outside of the foot. Postelakis didn't want to let it run away. High defensive line here from the Mariners, almost daring Melbourne City to try the long ball over the top. Melbourne City refusing the invitation at the moment. Hughes. Otto. Postelakis onto the chest of Speckmeyer. Otto. Speckmeyer. Riley Henry in close quarters, and that's clever from Henry. Speckmeyer cuts it inside, and McKenna scuffed the attempt to play it back through the right. And the Mariners quickly seize upon the ball. Pennick. Typical pass for Rowe to bring under control. And so Rossbacken comes in and takes it away. Otto has to be careful. Road 1 challenge, Road a second. Knocked the ball out into open field and then was able to chase down her own work. And ends up winning a throw at the end of it. But Em Husband encouraged by that in the Central Coast Mariners technical area. Seeing the press start to force errant touches, if not necessarily a giveaway. Bosch, hands full here against 2 Mariners opponents. Otto, this time the long ball. Off the head of Henry, can't quite knock it to the advantage of Speckmeyer. And well, that seems like a bit of an unnecessary foul there from Trimis, with the ball running away from Melbourne City's goal. Here it is again. Trimis, slightest of contact, but certainly with Speckmeyer moving laterally was enough to knock her off balance. And an easy free kick for the referee to give. Riley Henry, both arms in the air, waving for a diagonal ball out to the right flank, but it's not coming just yet. Hughes tries to force it through the middle instead. Davidson, McKenna. Now Rossbacken. Bosch. Policina. Runners breaking into the box. Speckmeyer goes to ground. Big appeal for a penalty. Bianca Galich with the counter protest. Even though there's a bay of Melbourne City fans that have made the trip to Gosford trying to add their voice. There's the moment of contention. guess the question is, where's the contact? There's a little shove from Annabelle Martin. The Mariners will probably be thinking back to their most recent game last Friday against the Perth Glory, when Taylor Ray produced a far more full-blooded shove on Miku Sanaga of Perth Glory in the dying stages and didn't get blown up for a penalty. That was far more subtle in its nudging Mariana Speckmeyer off the ball. But City at least asking questions. Almost 10 minutes into the second half now, and we've had real 5 minutes of tension where City have just tried to find the right pass and haven't been able to do so. The Mariners, other than the first minute straight out of the gates, yet to really show us that counter-attacking style that they are capable of. Here's Hughes. Henry. Speckmeyer. Hughes again, can't find McKenna. Martin. Mariners turn and go, and that pass from Martin unchaseable in every respect, and it was offside in any case against Brooke Nunn. Game number 75 today for Annabelle Martin, who did an ACL at the worst possible time during COVID, during lockdowns. Lost effectively a couple of seasons due to rehab. Given away here. Panic. Oh, stepped into the challenge of Davidson, who stopped that unfolding as a counter-attack pretty emphatically. And now it looks to launch the other way. Policina back to Davidson. Errant touch from Hughes. And now Nunn. It's Brooke Nunn assessing the options. Who's moving ahead of the ball? Nunn just goes for a drifter. It's neither a cross nor a shot. Just catching practice in the end for Milena Mires. Otto through the middle. Incisive pass. Davidson. Hands full immediately with Quilligan. Bosch. Rossbacken. Straight to Nash, but Nash is blocked. Davidson's chasing. Rowe's got to go. And Rowe backtracks in time. Leah Davidson bringing something new to that Melbourne City midfield. Langman, Quilligan. See Policina buzzing around here, winning the ball away. Rihanna Policina, can she turn and shoots? And desperation at the last there from Jessica Nash to make amends. Got caught by Policina in possession and then had to lunge and just go for the slide challenge to stop an uncontested shot. That's how Policina won the ball. And then that is how Nash avoided getting punished for giving it away. And so, at last, a Melbourne City corner for all the attacking and all the territory and all the possession. They haven't been able to mix it up with the corner kick. Now they can. Taylor Otto is going to get the talking to here from the referee, Georgia Ghirardello. Interesting that she's being marked by the much smaller Taylor Ray. Quilligan, Davidson, all the target of the referees telling off. And now we're ready for Apostolakis to take the corner. It's short to the edge of the box. McKenna was hiding behind the referee. Doesn't pull the trigger on a shot, though. McKenna now can't resist the invitation and lashes it into the woodwork. Well, we've been waiting for a moment to bring this game to life, and that was so very nearly something special. The Mariners can break on the counter. Pennock pushes it out to Trimis on the right. Trimis with Apostolakis for company. Tries to back her speed. Apostolakis is having none of it. Back to Mires. Well, that would have been a brilliant goal from Letitia McKenna. Has won this season. And was the width of the crossbar away from making it 2. Instead, the Mariners live to fight another day. Melbourne City almost coiling up like a cobra, ready to strike again. Henry's pass into the midfield mixer, Quilligan, and a foul and a yellow card. So what a busy phase of play for Letitia McKenna. The woodwork and a yellow card. Here's another look as McKenna becomes the only player on the pitch in the book. And here's a look at that shot. McKenna, a quick head check. Oh, that is so brilliantly struck. And hands on head in frustration that it wasn't able to sneak in under the crossbar. And now she's on a yellow card as well. Martin, early ball, none. Briley Henry goal side. Quilligan, improvised pass outside of the boot. Nunn tried to make it work. Apostolakis closed it all down. Bosch. Straight to Rowe. Nash backtracking. And Langman calls off the defender and says keeper's ball. Rowe inside to Ray. Bosch wins possession back for Melbourne City. Lourdes Bosch. Davidson now. Hughes. Slides it to Policina. And in at the near post. It's held onto with one little parry by the goalkeeper. Is there a handball by Bosch? Moot point. Was able to continue the run, but that's how it came to an end for Policina. Still looking for her first goal since scoring a double against Perth in round 1. Rasmussen striding through midfield and nearly setting Trimis away. There is a foul. There was a lot of contact there. Real bullocking work from Annalise Rasmussen, and now the yellow cards are starting to pop out of the pocket of Georgia Ghirardello. Taylor Otto joins Letitia McKenna in the book, and here is how Rasmussen got the better of the Melbourne City centre-back and captain for today. So Otto will now have to nurse that yellow card. I suspect that there's no plans of bringing her off. She'll have to live with it to the finish line. Just under half an hour of regulation to go. And traditionally the hour mark is where teams start to think about subs, but right now the Mariners need to think about defending. Davidson made the intercept and now tries to launch a counter. Martin comes in. It's a little bit chaotic. Galich can't take clean possession. Quilligan can. And now Pennock in broken play. Is this where the Mariners can go? Jade Pennock, the early ball. Brooke Nunn with the crowd urging her on. And Rasmussen is caught behind Apostolakis, who won a foul. And that was great defending from the youngster Alexia Apostolakis. Nunn here plays the pass, and Apostolakis just got her body in the road, and there was nothing that Rasmussen could do without infringing the rules. That's what I think all the neutrals are hoping for more of. Broken play, counter on counter. Space being exploited. As fatigue starts to set in, it's what we might see a lot more of, especially with young attacking talent about to be thrown into the mixer by the Mariners. Tiana Fuller and Shadeen Evans there. Melbourne City to build something of their own, but the pass out to the wing is misplaced. And is that going to prompt this double change? Whose number is up? Tiana Fuller, who's exploded onto the scene, the 16-year-old, with 2 goals in her first 2 games and a couple of chances in her substitute appearances since. And Shadeen Evans, it's going to be like for like in attack, coming on for Annalise Rasmussen. So on comes Evans to lead the line. And it's going to be the young winger, Peter Trimis, coming on for an even younger winger in Tiana Fuller. And so that's job done for both Rasmussen and Trimis, who take their seat. And on comes Shadeen Evans, 1 goal this season against Canberra. And Fuller straight into the action as well. So some fresh faces and some youthful attacking vigour now for the Mariners as they look to continue this pattern of hitting on the counter-attack. The question is, what minute will Melbourne City activate Holly McNamara? There's the pass count. resembling a cricket score at the moment. Postelakis out of ideas there on a probing run. Rowe inside to Ray. Evans, first involvement off the bench. Ray's pass intercepted by Bosch. Bosch to McKenna. It's shooting range for McKenna, and this time it keeps rising. So she had one sider that hit the woodwork, and now at the second time of asking, Letitia McKenna a little bit further away. She raised game 100 in the Ninja A-League last weekend, a career across her hometown Perth Glory, the Queensland or Brisbane Roar, and also now Melbourne City. She's not a prolific goal scorer, Letitia McKenna, but does pop up in big moments. She's got a great record in finals as well across her time at Perth and City. Here's Nunn, still full of running. Able to shrug the attention of Davidson. Ray. Sarah Rowe. Jade Pennick. Has to veer away from Taylor Otto. Ball down the right side, breaks kindly. How's Rowe's technique? Able to get a deflection, but rather than behind for a corner, it's actually honing in on the target of Milena Mires there. And Rowe, the attack breaks down in the blink of an eye, but well, a deflection like that can cause all sorts of trouble. Henry. Rossbacken. Bosch. Through the gap, straight back to Rossbacken, and now it's a 1-2-1-2 because Bosch is away, taking on Nash. Bit of grabbing and grappling, and ultimately, well, Bosch throws Nash out of the way and is going to go into the book herself. So it boils over for Bosch. Another Melbourne City player, 3 in the book, out on the pitch now. And you just see there the little shove at the end is what has drawn the eye of the referee. Lourdes Bosch joins Letitia McKenna and Taylor Otto in the book. And here comes the Mac. Holly McNamara will be subbed on here for Lourdes Bosch. So last involvement in the game for Bosch, and McNamara making this comeback from her 3rd ACL. It's her 4th appearance of the campaign. She grabbed that return goal on the 20th of December away in Adelaide. She actually has a pretty good record here at Industry Group Stadium when matches were being played here in the COVID season. She had a great day out against the Perth Glory here at what was effectively a neutral venue. Is this the moment that Melbourne City finds the spark? Just over 20 minutes of regulation to go in the game. Evans. Pennick trying to help out. Evans. Sweeping pass from Evans is a good one. Fuller, the youngster, from distance. Well, no shortage of confidence to shoot from that range, but high and wide in the end. And again, a bit like the first half, we saw it from Brooke Nunn. I think the Mariners must have had a shoot-on-sight policy for Milena Mires in goal today, because we've seen some very ambitious attempts from distance, from angles, to try and catch out the Melbourne City keeper. And Tiana Fuller adds her name to the list of players that have given it a go. Evans here trying to catch Rossbacken in possession, and the end result is a foul and a free kick for Melbourne City. But Evans, what a great pass a moment ago. That bending ball across the pitch to Fuller. And he's going to come on with fresh legs and try to make this difficult for the Melbourne City defence. Otto. McNamara off and running, but that pass is straight into the airspace of Galich. Now Galich. Straight back to Henry of Melbourne City. Here's McNamara. First touch off the bench, and the Mac goes to work. Has to stop and prop and just turn back this time. Davidson. Speckmeyer. Well, return ball skewed straight to Nunn. No chance to go quickly for the Mariners, though, so back to Langman they go. Galich. Taylor Ray making space in midfield. Real difficult pass. Threaded the eye of the needle there to Nunn, and now it's released out to Martin on the wing. Martin says to young Fuller, go and chase, and Fuller's going to pull up here and allow Mires to take uncontested possession. So into the final 20 minutes of regulation. Neither team wants to finish the calendar year with a stalemate. It's a busy time in the fixture as well. Round 9 is split over a number of weeks into January with midweek games coming up. So every squad's going to have to adjust for the additional game to juggle. That's why we haven't seen Rebecca Stott today, who remains seated on the bench for Melbourne City. There is Rebecca Stott, the regular captain. Catherine Harvey and Lourdes Bosch, a couple of the subs that have left the game either side. There's possession in the second half, almost completely uniform to the first half. The game has definitely had its established trend. Otto. Head check from Hughes before taking possession, but Quilligan took the ball away regardless. Pettick puts it out in front of Evans. Rossbacken's doubling back. Rossbacken goes to ground. Evans all about the delivery into the box and picks out the keeper. Oh, what an anticlimax. Shadid Evans had the crowd hanging on the edge of that pass. It was legal contact to lose Rossbacken, and then ultimately slid it too close to the keeper. So the Mariners, they have the new life and the new energy they were hoping for. Fuller on the left flank, Evans on the right, and they are keeping Melbourne City accountable. It's not entirely going to be City attack, Mariners defend, it seems, in the run to the finish line here. And Rossbacken has certainly had her hands full with Evans ever since coming off the bench. Otto's pass taken by Hughes. Speckmeyer has switched over to the left flank, and Briley Henry is playing on the right. McKenna has switched to the right as well. McNamara chasing Nash. Nash round the corner. Straight back to Speckmeyer. Now Davidson. McKenna. Neat roll by Hughes. McNamara. Foul right at the edge of the box. Protests that it's a penalty. Is it a penalty? McNamara, where was the contact? Well, she definitely fell into the box there. Sarah Rowe was the one committing the foul. And has Georgia Ghirardello given a penalty here? And the disbelief is starting to ripple through the crowd. Sarah Rowe, on her first Ninja A-League start, has fouled Holly McNamara, and it looks like it's a penalty. Discussion going on with the assistant referee, Danielle Anderson. Her and Georgia Ghirardello both vastly experienced. And you can tell from the protests of the Mariners players that it looks as though Melbourne City are going to the... Well, what a flashpoint in the game. Holly McNamara was the difference maker in the end. And it's Rihanna Policina who has taken the ball and will face down here against Sarah Langman to try and give Melbourne City the lead. Langman waits on the line. Policina to take the penalty kick. Langman comes up with the save. And like any good keeper, it's onto the corner. They've got to defend next. Elation for the Mariners, though. They keep the 0-0 scoreline intact. Great save from Langman, who dived full body. And that's a great shot behind the goal that shows the work the goalkeeper did. They've still got to defend the corner, though. 15 minutes of regulation to go. The game remains scoreless. Apostolakis, a driven corner. Policina trying to make amends for the penalty. Apostolakis puts that wide of the target. And the crowd exhale. Well, what a moment. A contentious penalty, and maybe the football gods were just whispering in the ear of Sarah Langman. Policina put it at a savable height, but Langman had to go quite a distance. And they've had their penalty issues over the years. Melbourne City with different takers and trying to find consistently a scorer that can bury the chances from the penalty spot. And now, with that let off, will the Mariners have a new lease of life in the game? Melbourne City redouble their efforts. They know that McNamara is capable of doing the game-breaking moments, and perhaps that should have been. Here goes Speckmeyer hugging the line. Did she keep it in? She didn't. Assistant referee is in the opposite half, but is able to look down the line there and make that call. Here's another look, and you got to say it's a great decision. It's a tight decision, but it's a good one. Sarah Rowe will be feeling a lot better about giving away that penalty as well. Quilligan. Apostolakis, McKenna, Henry. Galich clears. Quilligan and also Nunn both having a nibble but couldn't dispossess Davidson. McKenna back to Davidson, and now Nunn is able to come in and win possession. Martin. Given away. McNamara knocks it back for McKenna. McKenna has seen the overload on the left. Wants Hughes here. Hughes! And Langman has to come up with another save. It just kept sliding away from the keeper and prompted a dive out of Langman. Ball was just bending across the face of goal. And this will give us a good idea of how Langman had to correct course late there and reach out and dive to parry it away. Laura Hughes in great goal scoring form this season. 3 of her 6 career goals coming this season alone. Wasn't able to make it number 4. Another corner. Apostolakis, a drifter. Bit of pinball, saved again. Hands on head for Davidson. Nearly catching out Langman, but nothing's getting past her now. And the chances are starting to flow for Melbourne City. Davidson set herself, it was off the side of the head rather than the forehead, and it was still able to generate the power that needed Langman diving. Well, now it is all hands on the pump here for the Mariners, trying to hold on to this 0-0 score. Apostolakis, another dart of a corner, and the volley from Rossbacken, held on to by Langman. Carly Rossbacken hasn't scored a goal for Melbourne City since making the move. It wasn't a venomous volley, but it still, again, required the goalkeeper in the right spot to be able to collapse onto the ball. So a flurry of shots on target in quick succession for Melbourne City. And now the Mariners are really just clinging on. Can they get something going against the run of play? Just to try and remind Melbourne City that they can't snowball everything downhill to the finish line here. There's a sub being made, and it's the youngster, Shelby McMahon, just 16 years old, coming on. Brianna Policina coming off, and it's not going to be a good feeling for Policina, having only just had that penalty saved. No chance to redeem herself any further, and the youngster McMahon comes on. 2 career goals for Shelby McMahon. She knows how to find the back of the net. And so she'll get the last 10 minutes of regulation here, and has gone straight, seemingly, into a centre forward role. Apostolakis, McKenna, Ray. Great play by Taylor Ray. Won the ball, won the foul. Briley Henry leaves the scene after giving away the free kick, but it was a show of strength initially, and then Briley Henry just went and had a little bite at the ankles. Double change here for the Mariners. Lily McMahon, who was added to today's matchday squad after the injury to Ash Irwin, is coming on. She's an attacker. And the defender, Leah Puxty, is also going to be coming on here. Sarah Rowe's first start in Mariners colours comes to an end. And Jade Pennock as well. So McMahon will replace Pennock in attack, and Puxty will go into defence and reorganise with Rowe leaving the game. You'd say that's a smile of relief for Sarah Rowe as she heads to the sidelines. So the Mariners respond to the latest Melbourne City sub with a couple of changes of their own. McNamara, Henry. Both teams think it's their throw. Rossbacken. Speckmeyer. McMahon, first touch off the bench. And Speckmeyer's going to leave the ball here with Rossbacken to take the throw-in. Plenty of Mariners back defending here. Speckmeyer chasing down to the byline, but the line wins. So the switch of flanks still yet to really unlock Mariana Speckmeyer in this game. Letitia McKenna still over on the right side of the attack for now. As the Mariners play it short out from the back. Puxty gives possession away. Davidson. McNamara, edge of the box, can't take possession. Cleared by Ray. Otto. Now McNamara. Davidson. Letitia McKenna, shut down by Martin. Ray, improvised pass, able to keep the ball in Mariners' possession. Nunn to Martin, and now into the attacking half. Away goes Fuller. Evans barreling forward in the middle, but it's good defending from Apostolakis. Oh, he thought it was sitting up for Tiana Fuller to try and return the favour from earlier in the half when Janine Evans found her with a sweeping crossfield ball, but that's been well managed there by Alexia Apostolakis, and then Briley Henry down at the line, winning this free kick here. And well, when Janine Evans commits a foul, you know it's a foul. She's going to just be a reminder to that City defence that nothing's going to come easy. Now Otto. Evans again making a presence, making things just a little bit more hurried as Apostolakis plays the pass to McKenna. Here goes Rossbacken. Speckmeyer wide on the left, hugging the touchline. Rossbacken wants to look inside instead. McMahon just bobbled the ball. McNamara turns, shoots. McNamara. It's a shot on target, but dealt with by Langman. Just a low slider across the turf. And ultimately, Mariana Speckmeyer, who was wide out on the wing, pretty much unmarked the whole time, just couldn't convince the teammates to use her out there. Maybe this time she will indeed get involved. Here's Speckmeyer now. Hughes. McNamara back to Speckmeyer. Clipped away. Quilligan puts it behind for a corner. That's what Tess Quilligan has done so well today. Just get in the passing lanes. If it's not an intercept, it's a clearance. And on this occasion, safety first. Putting it behind for a corner. Apostolakis wasting no time. The pocket of City fans urging the visiting team on. In swinging corner, headed away off the near post. And the follow-up header is over the bar. McKenna sends it high. Well, Langman was scrambling back there because she was almost taking on her own defender to try and clear that ball, and there have been repercussions for it. You see there Jess Nash just copying the brunt of Sarah Langman's attempt to clear. They kept the ball out of the back of the net though. Even if there is a bit of an aftermath, which Nash is saying, no dramas, I'm all right. We've still got a job to do. We've still got 5 minutes plus stoppage to the finish line today. So Jessica Nash looking to protect another clean sheet and says no short pass out this time. Goalkeeper go for distance on this goal kick. Question is, are we going to see a goal in the final game of the calendar year? Time the enemy of both sides now. McMahon pops up for the header. Evans. Flag is up. Brooke Nunn. And those are energy sapping at the end of a long afternoon to have an offside. And now a bit of afters. Nunn just trying to get something started. A bit of a war of words and push and shove with Carly Ross back in, but the ball is live at the feet of Apostolakis. Right up the middle, and that is keeper's ball. So here was the afters again. Melbourne City wanted the quick restart. I think Brooke Nunn was just doing everything to prevent that, and if that meant having to fly the flag a bit, so be it. Puxty down the line. And a foul here on Martin. Right in front of the Melbourne City bench, who are querying what the foul was for, but
Big moment, ladies. Come on, City.
Michael Matriciani is trying to G his team up. There's another look at how Martin got wiped out. Rossbacken. Only as far as Quilligan. Dispossessed by McMahon. Nunn is going to capitalise. Away goes Fuller down the flank. Tiana Fuller, the early ball, dealt with by Apostolakis. And it was Janine Evans alone in the penalty area. It had to be a perfect cross. Rossbacken breaks out into the sun as shadows creep across the ground at Industry Group Stadium. McNamara back out to Speckmeyer, looking to change the pace of the attack here. Mariana Speckmeyer returns it to the McNamara. Legged, penalty, and for the second time in this game, Holly McNamara has won a penalty kick for Melbourne City. And it's going to have to be a different taker because they have subbed off Rihanna Policina. Galich made the contact and McNamara drew the foul. Penalty kick for Melbourne City. And by the time they get up and take it, it'll be the last minute of the 90. Who's taking responsibility though? Langman has saved once already from Policina. This time it looks like Mariana Speckmeyer. Can Langman come up with another save? Speckmeyer, having watched her teammate have a penalty saved earlier in the half. Deep breath for Mariana Speckmeyer. A huge penalty kick right at the end of the game. And she's missed it. The goalkeeper was left standing, but Mariana Speckmeyer hooked the penalty wide. Holly McNamara has won her teammates 2 spot kicks. Neither of them has ended up in the back of the net. Relief for Bianca Galich. And now we're about to find out how many minutes of stoppage. Melbourne City, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's not their day, but they may yet get a reprieve in terms of a chunk of minutes to keep chasing this elusive goal. And the Mariners net is definitely living a charmed life. And if they can score here late against the run, it really will be something special. Melbourne City sticking to task. Otto. 5 additional minutes. Enough time to make something happen. Speckmeyer now. Neat little sidestep, is going to shoot from distance. And it's well wide of the target. Central Coast won't mind defending that. Not giving much away, Speckmeyer's got the poker face on well and truly. Just see there, perhaps had eyes only for the target and ultimately sliced it well wide. Langman must be wondering, how much more work have I got to do? At least another 4.5 minutes. Martin. And straight to the sideline. And husband shouting defensive instructions. Lily McMahon was the target of that instruction there. Ross Backen has been trying to initiate so many of these forward forays through the last quarter of the game or so. And again, needs to find the right pass here. Speckmeyer clips it on. McNamara. Ankle tap. Fairly blatant foul. Quilligan leaves the scene. No thoughts of reaching for the cards from the referee, but gee, it's walking right up to the limit of a yellow card there, but no booking. It's not hugely relevant to the final moments of this game, whether there is a card or not. For Melbourne. Kostelakis with 2 arms raised. What does that mean? There's a player wide on the left, McMahon, who could be on for the sneaky reverse pass. Or will the ball be sent to the pack of players waiting at the edge of the box? Here's Apostolakis. It is a conventional delivery. And skimming off heads, Speckmeyer got the touch, but it was going wide. And Langman wrapped 2 gloves around it for safekeeping. See there off the back of Speckmeyer's head more than anything. So half of stoppage time has expired. 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. Evans off the shoulder. McKenna. Her shot rattled the crossbar before the 2 penalties, neither of which were converted. And the ball is cleared away by Nash. Ross Backen, McNamara. Ray did well, knew where the touch was going. Nunn beaten to the ball. Quilligan follows up. Looks like it's a cramp for Brooke Nunn. Play's going to continue. Yep, well and truly. The ball is live at the feet of Ross Backen. Speckmeyer loads up across, blocked away. McMahon heeding the instructions of her coach M. Husband. He was shouting, you have to get tight. And that's exactly what she did, blocked that cross away. Nunn is still down, treating her own cramp as the ball continues to move for Melbourne City. It breaks central. McNamara takes possession. Evans comes in with an arm bar, and there's no whistle. Play continues, but Nunn is down. So the Mariners are 1 short. Fuller doesn't care, looks up and sees no support, and decides, I've got to go myself. And Fuller eventually has to wheel back around. It was her versus about 8 Melbourne City players. Quilligan's pass a drifter. And the referee now whistles play dead, as it becomes increasingly apparent that Brooke Nunn is not going to be able to get up under her own volition. Did Evans foul McNamara? Well, I think there's a pretty good case. But Janine Evans has come on and has played with a great physicality. And the referee saw nothing wrong. Is it cramp in both legs? Brooke Nunn's done a power of running in this game and got so close to the finish line, but unfortunately for her, yep, it's just cramps in both legs. And so this is going to leave everyone guessing as to exactly how much stoppage will be remaining at the end of the game. The whistle went at about 94 flat, so the final minute of the allocated 5 is going to be spent treating Brooke Nunn. Is 60 seconds enough for Melbourne City to manufacture one last chance? Her husband can't exhale just yet. There might yet be one more twist in the tail. All of the Mariners outfielders have been subbed on, so if Brooke Nunn can't continue physically here, it's going to be 10 versus 11 for all of about 60 to 90 seconds to end the game. It's been a super performance from Brooke Nunn. It just hasn't had a goal to go with it. And the crowd is showing their appreciation for someone who has quite literally run themselves into the ground. And it feels like any given muscle could be about to cramp as she walks off the pitch. I think we just heard from the physio there. She's gone. I don't think Nunn wants to come off, though. So the ball is at the feet of Taylor Otto. We tick into a 7th minute of additional time. There's about 60 to 90 seconds of real play to go. It's all up to the generosity of the referee from here. Hughes, McNamara. Trying to take possession of the ball. Squeezes it out to the right. Martin clips it away. Apostolakis. Martin. Ray. Puxty. Headed down by McKenna. It's pretty much now or never for Melbourne City. Can they get something going? Nunn is back up. Is getting another touch. Apostolakis. This is it for Melbourne City. Last roll of the dice. Otto up the middle. McNamara wins the header. And a free kick's given. A free kick is given. It's a long ranger, a long way from the box. Maybe too far for a direct shot at goal. But after a collision here, McNamara is down. The physio's out in the blink of an eye. Well, the Mariners bench making their thoughts clear. And Michaela they're shouting to there is Michaela Ryan, the 4th official. Here's another look at the contact. Well, Nash had the arms tucked in, but the referee said that she got into the back of Holly McNamara, who's going to have to leave the pitch for this free kick and the subsequent potential to follow up here. So she might be stuck on the sidelines for the last play of the game. And when the board went up for +5, I don't think anyone was expecting us to move into the 99th minute. More overtime for Sarah Langman in goal. Apostolakis scored a long-range goal down in Melbourne when these two teams met first time around. Can she finish 2024 on a massive high here? Solo over the free kick. Alexia Apostolakis goes for glory and puts it over the bar. And a look here at the ball that just kept rising. And Sarah Langman may well have had it covered. And so the number of goals we budgeted for in 2024 clearly didn't include today, because despite the efforts of both teams, particularly Melbourne City, not once did it hit the back of the net. Sarah Langman saved a penalty and then watched a second penalty fired wide. And the Mariners ran themselves into the ground defending and clinging to a clean sheet frustration for Melbourne City. It's a pretty unsatisfying way for them to continue their unbeaten start to a 9th game because they leave Gosford with a 0-0 draw. Central Coast Mariners 0, Melbourne City 0. So let's get into the highlights and the 2 big talking points out of the game. It was Laura Hughes' pass and Sarah Rowe right at the edge of the box making contact with Holly McNamara. It wasn't immediately obvious that it was a penalty. There was consultation with the assistant referee and the end result was Melbourne City going to the penalty spot. But Sarah Langman saved from Rihanna Policina, went the right way and kept the score at 0-0. But Melbourne City weren't done. Mariana Speckmeyer meeting Holly McNamara with a great pass and then Galich legging the Melbourne City attacker and sending them to the penalty spot again.